Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's Life Therapy with AJ Johnson. She sits down with Antonette Currie, who has unanswered and unsettled family issues. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I keep all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. Antonette Currie submits a letter to life coach AJ Johnson. She wrote in because she's a lupus warrior, and AJ immediately connects as she's done a lot of work with individuals who suffer with lupus. Let's take a look at Antoinette's letter. Modeling has always been my passion, and my career took off fast. I got booked for a lot of fashion shows, and photographers loved that I was so photogenic. My true connection was walking down the runway, and being in front of the camera gave my life power. One day that power came to a halt. One day while washing my hair, it began to fall out in my hands. I went to the doctor and was then referred to a rheumatologist who ran tests and then diagnosed me with lupus. I was devastated and didn't love who I was anymore. Lupus officially ended my modeling career. Now the fight for my life and my mother's love was about to begin. This story hits hard for me, especially the mother situation. Antoinette is the owner of Live Love Juice, and I want to pop up on her at a place of business as a surprise. I'm honored to have individuals write to me and share their experiences. On top of that, trusting me, asking for help. They don't think that I'll read their emails or understand, and then I just walk up and surprise and say, hey, I'm honored. It's all a gift to be a part of the journey. I can't wait to sit down with Antoinette to get more details to start the journey of healing and life coaching. Antoinette is happy to see AJ. They sit down and take a moment to discuss more details included in the letter. Antoinette is a lupus warrior diagnosed in 2007. Her face has completely changed. She lost fat in her face and there was hardness under her skin. She later went to a dermatologist. The dermatologist did steroid injections. She later learned from a rheumatologist that the dermatologist wasn't supposed to do those injections. That action caused severe scarring on her face. The scarring made Antoinette feel even worse. She thought that she was ugly. No one would ever approach her the same. She thought that she would never have a relationship again. And people would always ask her, were you in a car wreck? Nothing was ever the same. AJ wants to know if she agrees that God will get our attention to help us learn real life lessons. Does she think that God wanted her to think of what matters that did not deal with the outward appearance? Antoinette agrees. In 2018, she was hospitalized for 1 month. She had a huge blood clot on her right lung from lupus. She never knew what a pulmonary embolism was before the event. Then she got the flu and got all the way down to 103 pounds, which led to her needing 2 blood transfusions. She caught the flu while going through treatment in the hospital. AJ wants to know, why do you think you survived? She asked to come closer to Antoinette to hold her hand because Antoinette breaks down in tears. AJ wants all of the tears to flow because this is a part of healing. She shares that her brother and grandmother were present all the while she was in the hospital for the entire month. There was the realization that she had to stop asking God, why me, and start realizing, why not me? Sometimes God uses you so you can help others. Her grandmother's prayers kept her going when she no longer wanted to live. Her siblings and supportive friends were there, all except her mom. Her mother never came to see her in the hospital, and she has no idea why. All she knows is that her mom had a trip with her boyfriend to Atlantic City during that month. AJ noticed that when Antoinette started to talk about her mom, the tears dried right up. AJ suggests that they go for a walk and get some fresh air. They have to address why, when she spoke about her siblings and grandmother, there were tears of joy and gratitude. When she mentioned her mom, the tears dried up and her demeanor completely changed. It's like she was hardened. We learn that Antoinette is more connected with her grandmother because she raised her. Her mother wasn't just gone while she was in the hospital, but all of her life and big moments. Even though the hospital stay was years ago, the raw emotion is still there. She'd at least think her mom would show up then. She was fighting for her life. AJ sits down with Dr. Tart, expert clinical psychologist. He will be able to go deeper with his experience to help healthy dialogue with Antoinette and her family. There are several layers and expectations concerning healing. AJ is a big fan of Dr. Tart's saying, "You can't pour when you're empty." He wants to understand what Antoinette's goal is, and AJ confirms that she's mentioned some points. 1, having a relationship with her mother, and 2, getting some truths from her mother. Dr. Tart introduces himself to Antoinette and begins the session with a prayer, asking for clarity and understanding. He asks God to use him as a vessel. The first question, what do you feel you need from your mother, Shirley? Antoinette says, at one point I wanted an apology from my mother. Now I only want to know, why weren't you there? I'm a very loving and caring person, and I always help my mom. If she could give me love, I would love to receive it. Now the critical question, what if she's not able to give you that love or what you need? Antoinette says that she still loves her mother and can't live her life in sadness. I must keep moving forward, and I want to live a life of joy. I can't keep being in things that will trigger me. I'll have to move on for sure. Dr. Tart now wants to talk with Shirley. He's curious as well as to what's going on. He also warns Antoinette that to beware that her mom could go with either option, and it's no telling how she'll receive it. So she'll have to make sure that she will be okay. Shirley's response may not be what she wants. Dr. Tart sits down with Shirley and uses the point in time in Antoinette's life when she was in the hospital as a reference point. She didn't have her mother there, which made her feel alone, abandoned, unloved, and even betrayed. There were a lot of words that she used to describe that point in time. She even called Shirley to be with her in the hospital, but Shirley never showed up. Shirley's response is simple. She was just scared. She didn't know the severity of her illness and felt, I'm losing someone else again. When she grew up, she didn't have her mother either. She simply just ran away from situations. Dr. Tart wants to clarify for Antoinette. Where were you physically when she was in the hospital? Shirley confirms that she was in Atlantic City with her then boyfriend. He even kept saying to her, you need to go see your daughter. Although Shirley just couldn't go see her. Something was holding her back. It was those feelings of abandonment for her as well. Shirley was adopted and always felt abandoned. She feels her birth mom left her and her adoptive mother abandoned her. Dr. Tart indeed sees the cycle, and Shirley feels bad. She was never there in ways Antoinette wanted. Dr. Tart wants Shirley just to listen to Antoinette so she can let her know how she feels. He wants her to not try to explain or defend her actions now, but just to listen to her daughter. That incident on the surface level appears as she chose to be with the man and not her daughter. Show care and empathy for Antoinette and make it about her. There's a family exercise, and Dr. Tart begins. He instructs Antoinette to pour water into her mom's glass when she feels Shirley understands her. The exercise will be a success when everything in Antoinette's glass goes into Shirley's empty glass. Each pouring has to be honest. If Antoinette at any time feels like her mom doesn't understand something, don't pour into the cup. If at any time Shirley doesn't understand, she can request from Antoinette, what can I do to get more water so I can understand? He wants them to feel before they can understand. The water represents the feelings. Before apologies, someone must sincerely understand and feel. That's done by communication and feelings. Empathy is through love. Intimacy into me, I see. To begin, he wants Shirley to ask Antoinette how she felt when she wasn't there at the hospital, and she responds, hurt, sad, and that Shirley was being selfish because she never showed up. Shirley takes a moment to ask a question. She doesn't understand why Antoinette feels that she was being selfish. She says, because you never showed up throughout the entire month. Shirley is still not understanding Antoinette and begins to cry, saying, you know how I felt growing up. A lot of it stems from being adopted. Sometimes it feels easier to just run away from things because people run away from me. As Shirley speaks, Antoinette pours water into the glass. Shirley continues that her actions weren't intentional, but she was just scared. She felt that if she didn't show up at the hospital, maybe everything would be better because she loves Antoinette. Antoinette vents that you tell me that you love me, but you never showed up. Yet all I could think about while in that hospital is she's on a trip. She's in Atlantic City. Even after you returned, you made excuses and even said that you couldn't take off from work. To me, it made more sense that maybe if your work knew the situation, they would make an exception for you to come see your daughter. You just didn't push hard enough to see me. You just counted on grandma to be there. Dr. Tart wants them to observe the glasses. Antoinette's glass is still full. Shirley is still making issues about her. Does she even know anything about her daughter? She's aware of her pain, but she needs to learn more about her daughter's feelings. Antoinette shares that whenever she would come to her mom to talk about things, Shirley was very cold and even suggested, it's over now, why bring it up? Even at Thanksgiving dinner, when Antoinette got very upset, she still never answered the question about why she wasn't there. Dr. Tart tells Shirley that a part of healing is that she has to own the fact that she wasn't there, even though she was scared. Her homework is to learn and hear from Antoinette what it feels like when her mom wasn't there. Now it's time to speak to Osi, Antoinette's grandmother. Osi is glad to be present to do whatever she can to help. Dr. Tart updates Osi about the water exercise. Shirley and Antoinette were able to understand a little, but Shirley's glass reflects the unbalance of the two. He wants her to explain to her grandmother what she feels about her mom and what she wants. Antoinette says that it just wasn't the hospital time, that her mom wasn't in her life, but her mom was never there to be there for her. Honestly, she doesn't even know her mom, and it's more like a friendship. She wants the fullness from her mother. Osi acknowledges that she understands and says that Shirley's feelings are deeply connected with her knowing she was adopted. Shirley also had children at a very young age. By that time, I was already divorced, and I felt like I had to step in to help Shirley be a mother. It's unfortunate, but Shirley was young and wild. So I felt that I had to raise her children. I'd rather break the mold early and didn't want the grandchildren to suffer and be in a bad environment. I made it very clear to Shirley that I in no way was trying to replace her as the mother, but I had to step in and nurture your children. She was so caught up in being with the man, and I always told her that whoever you're with, you have to say, I'm a mom and I have to spend time with my child or with my children. Osi tells Dr. Tart, I'm not always going to be here. I just found out that I have cancer in my breast. Antoinette breaks down into tears, and Osi wants them to try to work on their relationship. Antoinette just wants Shirley to own up to things and apologize because it will allow healing for the both of them. Osi just gets right to it and says, Shirley, ask Antoinette to forgive you. AJ then steps in because she notices Shirley talks in circles and all around everything when someone mentions an apology. She wants Shirley just to ask, what can I do to demonstrate love that would fill your cup? Shirley asks her, what can I do because I want to fill your cup? Antoinette just wants Shirley to show up when she needs her. Show her that she can be there, just like a friend would or a mother. She even wants Shirley to love herself more. AJ notices that while Antoinette is in pain, she's even requesting a concern for you. Shirley is having such a tough time saying, I know I should be there, but I know I should do this, but, and AJ pushes a bit. Be there, but what? Come on, Shirley, say it. I know it's hard, but let it out. Say it. Say what's on your heart. What is it? What is the resistance? Shirley says that the truth is, I need to love myself. And I don't. I haven't loved myself. I haven't been there because I can't. I'm willing to do what I can, and I want to be there. Dr. Tart says, AJ mentioned to me that you want love. And the truth is that you don't know how. You were looking for love yourself. You wanted someone else to feel it, but you can't give what you don't have. Shirley finally apologizes to Antoinette. Dr. Tart hands Antoinette the glass and she pours the rest into Shirley's glass. Shirley finally gets it and understands. They then hug one another. AJ closes with transparency. I lost my mother when I was 15, 16 years old. And after losing her, I observed more mother-daughter relationships. I've actually had more time without her than with her. I'm really sensitive when someone contacts me about mother-daughter relationship healing. It's so interesting how Antoinette and Shirley were perfect examples of a lot of things. One, when you live in fear, it can be damaging to a relationship. Two, when you both seek the truth, it gives healing to your life and other relationships. As painful as it can be, speaking the truth is where your freedom lives. Shirley said it felt like a weight was lifted off of her. They will also be healing from Antoinette when it comes to her lupus. Everything will shift when they keep healing and receiving help. If it's one thing they've all learned, or if it's one thing I want you to learn, is you cannot live in fear. Dr. Tart takes a moment to thank AJ for allowing him to be a part of the journey. He also mentions that there's a stigma in our community about therapy, about counseling, but all they are tools to healing and happiness. And now it is time for your favorite part of the video. That's right, my review and discussion questions for you guys to leave in the comment section. Now, traumas, experiences, all of that is passed down, whether we realize it or not. Sometimes those traumas and those experiences will show up in the next generation and then they'll turn around and hit you in the face. Now, let's just break down the obvious stand up hand clap of it all. Somebody who just says, look, this is what it is. It's OC, the grandma. She came in to play no games when it came to speaking truth to Shirley. I have no doubt in my mind that this is not the first time that she broke it down for Shirley. She just wanted to make it known to everybody else. This is what I've already told her. You know, in the South, you always hear a statement that's kind of like, well, you don't need a PhD to know blank, blank, blank. And sometimes you got all the smarts in the world, all the book smarts in the world. But when it comes to common sense, you can't get it right. The fact that she came in there in front of a licensed psychologist and said, look, this is what it is. Shirley had kids young. She had an issue with adoption and that she was adopted and all. She had these kids young. She was running the street. She was wild. And I stepped in as the grandmother, yes. And I took care of those children because I knew that if I left them in that situation, that experience and that trauma was just going to continue on even worse with her kids. So I stepped in. I told her, I'm not replacing you as the mom, but these kids need to be taken care of. She broke it down. And not even that, when Shirley kept talking in circles, she said, look, just ask her for forgiveness, okay? Can you just turn to her and ask her for forgiveness? We wasting time up here, and I need y'all to get along because I'm not well, and I'm not always going to be here to talk some sense into y'all. So I love it. I love it. It was in the layman's terms, but it was something that anybody could understand. She didn't need the fancy words. She didn't need the accolades to say, hey, look, this is what happened. So there's error in everything, right? If OC noticed that her daughter, okay, talking about accountability, if she noticed her daughter had issues and all of this with her being adopted, that's where that stigma comes in when we talk about counseling and therapy. If you were aware that there were certain issues, if you were aware that your daughter was feeling and going through these things and seeking love and attention somewhere else, which was clearly going on with Shirley, that would have been the perfect time to introduce therapy and counseling and help, because that would have changed possibly the trajectory of everything in the relationship between her and her children's lives. You never know, but it would have been good to have more tools instead of we just gonna pray about it and I said what I said. It takes more than that. As Dr. Tart said, those are tools that you need to help you. There shouldn't be a stigma about it. They're tools to help relationships, mending, healing. Another thought, I wonder how Shirley's other children feel and if they want healing with her as well. Have they tried? Did they just get frustrated and say, forget it, I don't care, I'm moving on? Did they seek healing? Because a lot of the times some people can seek healing or seek, they want questions and they're just tired of going in circles with you and they just let it go. They just let it go and they say, I can't deal with this hurt anymore. Even Antoinette mentioned that when Dr. Tart says, well, what if you don't get what you want? What if you have these goals? And what if your mother doesn't respond in ways that maybe you're thinking? And she said, I'll just have to move on because I'm at a point in my life where I'm dealing with all these other things and I want to be happy. I want to be enjoyed. I don't want to feel sad all the time. I'm ready to move on. And I wonder if those other kids felt the same way. Like they reached that point and they tried to come to some common ground with her and they just said, I'm done. I wonder if that's what happened to the other kids. But Antoinette chose to write in and she chose that she needed this in her life and getting answers. Like, where were you? I was in the hospital. You were gone. You at Atlantic City. Like, what's going on? She had those feelings and those questions that needed to get answered, to give her closure, to give her healing. Everything. That accountability is so important. And I feel that Shirley had a very tough time with apologizing because a lot of people in situations, and not even intentionally, a lot of people will feel that I'm not going to lose this argument, or I was wrong, but because I've went through all of this stuff, that's just the cause and effect of my actions. And that's actually incorrect. Yes, we have experiences that have an effect on the way we behave, the way we talk to people, but it shouldn't be used as an excuse. It should be used as something that you learn from. And it even got frustrating to AJ when she just came in the room like, okay, look, clearly, translation, you don't want to apologize. So how about we just word it differently? How about you just ask her, hey, what can I do in order to make it right? What can I do to demonstrate my love? It's like, dang, like, okay, you feeling like, everybody, you like you're trying to win, like you're trying to be right. And that's not the situation. The situation is evaluating what you did wrong. You did wrong. You weren't there. You say you love somebody. You're doing this. You're saying this. And you're being very hypocritical in what everybody's talking about. People are trying to take accountability and responsibility for everything that they're doing. But for some reason, you just can't do that one thing. That even your boyfriend, even all of this, they telling you should go see your daughter. But you still was like, nah, we in Atlantic City though. Like, it's evident. I'm laughing, but it's not a funny situation. I'm laughing at the fact that some people can just be stubborn, and some people just can't accept that, hey, can we just move on? In order to move on, you have to take accountability, you have to have empathy, and you have to apologize. Those are the steps. Okay, you can't say, well, I'm sorry, but no, that's not an apology. That's not asking for forgiveness. Just stop it. It's just like, let's just cut it here. I bet, AJ and the production was like, look, it's only a 1 hour show. We can't keep asking you the same question like 8 times. Okay, listen. For those of you who have been on my channel and know that I did the Inyala Fix My Life series, when Antoinette kept saying she wanted a relationship with her mother, she wanted to spend time with her mother, she wanted her to show up and do all of this stuff, I could not help but to think about Iyanla and what she would have said. Because, Iyanla, she was like, you want to build a relationship with your mother, you want to spend time with your mother, you want to go shopping together, you want to hold hands, you do, okay, well, you're not going to get it. Because what Iyanla was saying, those years and you trying to, do those behaviors like you're a child, like y'all are going to go to the park and your mom going to push you down the slide. Those years are done. All you can do is move forward as a woman, and your mom learns and you learn how to bond as women, as mother and daughter. You have to move forward. Like, you can't expect that person to be what they were when you were a child. Like, it's not going to happen. And surely to be a mom to you in certain ways and capacities when she doesn't know how to be a mother. Like Iyanla would have said, she doesn't know how to be a mother. She's never been a mother. She doesn't know how to be a mother. So she can't morph because you go into counseling. She can't morph into something that you have in mind with her. What's healthy, what can be done is a healthy communication and relationship moving forward. You as an adult, your mom as an adult, from that point on, moving forward. That's what Iyanla would have said. Now let's talk about some discussion questions. Do you feel that it's too late to mend not only their relationship, but a relationship? Like, do you feel like it's too late to mend something? Do you feel like it's too much time, it's too much effort, forget mending anything? How do you feel about that? 2, the second question, do you think, you guys, that Antoinette should seek legal action against the dermatologist who gave her the facial shots? Should she take legal action? When she said that, I was just immediately like, wait, what? The rheumatologist is telling you that the dermatologist wasn't supposed to do that. Do you think that she should take legal action? Let me know. So I'll go ahead and answer the questions how I feel. So the discussion question number 1, do you feel like it's too late to mend their relationship, or just across the board relationships, period, like life? Is it too late? I feel like things are never too late. Like, as long as you have the capacity, you're breathing, you understand, you have the consciousness knowing what's going on, right? And your sanity, it's never too late. It's never too late to seek an apology. It's never too late to seek healing. Like, that would give you so much closure. When AJ mentioned that Shirley felt like it was a weight that was lifted off of her, yeah, don't carry weights with you. Don't carry stuff on your back like that. Let that stuff go. If you 89 and you need an apology from your cousin, something they said way back in 1965, you go talk to that person, okay? You get that closure. It may be petty, it may be small in other people's eyes, but if it's important to you and it's something that you need to address, do it. Absolutely do it. I don't think it's ever too late. People that say, oh, forget that, it's too late, they can't apologize to me now, or you know what, that was 20 years ago, I'm not gonna ask for an apology. I think that's just people wanting to move on and be over it and be done with. I get it, but those are the same situations and people sometimes that when that other person die and they at the funeral, they the ones rolling all over the ground. I never got to tell her how I felt, Lord. I never got to tell her how I was feeling. Yeah, you gotta say that. You gotta get that energy out and over with. You gotta talk about it. Gotta address it. Question number 2, with the legal action towards the dermatologist. If she can legally sue that dermatologist, I would, because I know you go in getting a service and maybe they have disclaimers and stuff in fine print that, hey, I'm recommending this, and if it's some effects that happen, that's not my fault. I mean, I get that, but I would think that if the dermatologist knew that she had lupus, like, what doesn't go with what? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but if you know a lawyer, tell them to listen to this question or to listen to this recap. So, or at least that part where she's explaining what happened with her face, and have them chime in and give some legal advice. Or if you know a dermatologist who can look at this video, who could say their 2 cents if she can sue or not. Let me know, because I'm not sure, but I would at least try to do some research to see if I could sue. Because if you think about it, that was her livelihood, modeling. And because of you and the injections, that changed my appearance. Like, even though I have, I'm thinking about if I was Antoinette, I'd be thinking, okay, even though if I have lupus, I could have still modeled when I was feeling okay. That's what I would be thinking. Like, if that's your livelihood, that's your job, you modeling, and you have this illness, you have this sickness, but when you're not sick, maybe you could have been modeling or doing small projects here and there. I would look into that legally. I really would. Not, it just happened and I'm dealing with it. Like, no, like, if it's something that, or at least sue them to pay for the medical expenses from the effects of the shots. Something. Yeah, I mean, I'm just, that's what I immediately thought about when she was telling the story. I'm like, whoa, like, did you sue? Because that's mind blowing. I know that medicines can mix with this and sometimes, things happen, but if they weren't supposed to do that, I would want Antoinette to look into that, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Remember to respect one another in the comments, and remember, it's okay to agree to disagree. Okay, so if you disagree about something, please, be cordial to one another. Make sure to check out more information in the pinned comment about other shows, and also the lineup video to see what's planned so far for the channel for this year. Television shows, reactions, trailers, all that good stuff. But take a look at that video. Also check out other shows in the pinned comment, those links, things you can binge watch. This is a family friendly channel. Make sure to like this video and share, subscribe. Also follow me on Instagram so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next, and also some personal things that I have going on if you care, if you want to know what's going on in my personal life. In the meantime, in between time, remember, you guys, to take care of yourself and each other. Bye.